to my today's video, and in this video I'm going to tell you what places I wish to visit again and I really miss. And it's a different video from places that I want to visit because it's like the places that I want to revisit. And I want to talk about the places that I miss all the time because it's like obvious. And I would be talking about those places all the time because some places, they are special to me. Yeah, there's one place that is very special to me, and I always miss that place. Uh, and by the way, I wanted to talk about something, but I kind of forgot what I wanted to talk about. Like, actually, I had something in my mind, but I don't know anymore. So, actually, the country that keeps going back to my mind all the time is Uzbekistan. I've been to Uzbekistan like 1 year ago, and like not even whole 1 year ago, like almost 1 year ago. And I really miss this country. Like, I really enjoyed it. Like, it was one of the most beautiful places I have ever seen. And most of people that I know, they don't even know like anything about Uzbekistan. And this country doesn't even cross their minds when they think about where they want to go. And I keep wanting to go to Uzbekistan all the time. Other countries like in Central Asia that I visited during that trip, I also want to go back to them, but especially Uzbekistan. Like, I miss it so much. But I think that if I went back to Uzbekistan, I would want to visit also those countries because they are close. And once you paid for a flight to Central Asia and you fly so many kilometers, it's not that expensive to fly to even take a bus to other Central Asian countries, because maybe flying is more expensive, but if you take a bus, that's not very expensive. And I have such good memories from this trip. Like, I keep having those memories and thinking, oh my god, I wish I could go on this trip once again and see those places once again and do things, a little bit differently, because actually I wasn't really thinking that much because, for example, I went to some places in the wrong season, so I couldn't see anything because of the weather. And these were mountains that I couldn't even see because of the fog and the clouds and everything. So, yeah, I would have done some things differently, but otherwise, I really miss that trip, and I wish to do this again, to go to similar places, to go to Uzbekistan. Also Kyrgyzstan and Kazakhstan, probably I would also visit, like if I was going to Uzbekistan, because they are very close. And I also miss them, but Uzbekistan like the most. Like, I really loved it so much. Like, it was amazing. And actually, if you don't speak Russian, it may be difficult for you to go to those countries. Like, you can go, but communicate with people, it's more difficult. But in Uzbekistan, it's the easiest. But in Kyrgyzstan, for example, it's like extremely difficult to find anybody who speaks English, or like, yeah, they may speak Kyrgyz, but they may speak Russian, but they speaking English, no, it's more difficult. Like, it's very difficult. So speaking Russian saves your life. And another country that I really miss, and I keep thinking about this country all the time, which I also said in my previous video, is Lebanon. And I was in Lebanon almost 2 years ago. My God, 2 years ago. Time flies, really. Like, it was 2 years ago, and I was in Lebanon, but I was only in Beirut, and I wish I went to other cities as well. And also, the weather was not my friend during that journey, because I went there in November and I wasn't expecting weather to be so bad, because actually, it's kind of a bit of a lottery, because you never know. You may have like a nice weather and you may have storms all the time. Like me, I had storm every day and it was raining a lot and it was very cold. I was freezing because I didn't take anything rainproof. And I really wish I went to other places in Lebanon as well, because I had to pay kind of a bit of money for the flight itself. And once I was already there, I wish I went there for like a longer time, and I went also to other cities like Trablus and Tyr, and like, there's a lot of places in Lebanon that I would like to see. And I was only in Beirut, but I went there not for a long time. So, like, I didn't have a lot of days to spend there, and I think that was my biggest mistake. I should have gone there for a longer time. I had school. That's why I didn't go there for a longer time, because I was like, oh, I have to go back to uni, blah blah blah. I didn't want to miss too many days. But right now, I really wish I went to Lebanon like for a longer time. Next time, I hope I will go there for a longer time, so I can see everything that I want to see. And another country that I truly miss is Tunisia. And I've been there like just before I went to Lebanon. And I've been only to Tunis and Sidi Bou Said. And those places, they are like very close to each other. If you are in Tunis, like Sidi Bou Said, it's like 5 minutes by train, maybe 10 minutes. I don't remember exactly, but it's very close. And it looks a bit like Santorini, a bit like Chefchaouen in Morocco. And it's a very nice place. But Tunis itself is very beautiful. I think it's very underrated, and I think yeah, it's very, very, very underrated, because people, like tourists, they usually don't go to Tunis and like the city. Uh, Tunis, the city. I think that in, I thought a bit like from Arabic, because in Arabic Tunis is also Tunisia and also city. So I said Tunis, the city. But in English it's a different word. It's Tunisia and Tunis. Yeah, and also another country. By the way, I just got a message from my friend yesterday who was like, "Oh, will you come to me to Egypt? It's Egypt." You know, and right now I am really, really, really broke, and I want to go to Egypt. I really want to go to Egypt for a long time. That's my plan. I think this year, inshallah, I will go to Egypt. And like I really want to go there. Like I've been to Egypt and I enjoyed it a lot. I was there for 1 week and I went like to a lot of places in Egypt, but unfortunately, when I was in Cairo, I haven't seen a lot because I was standing in traffic jams all day. Like I was literally standing in a traffic jam for a few hours. So especially I want to go back to Cairo because I have seen almost nothing because of the traffic. Because I had like a limited amount of time there, and the traffic that day was really, really, really bad, and was because of one politician that was visiting Egypt, and I hate that politician, by the way. So I was like, I never liked you anyway, and now you destroyed my day in Cairo. I don't like you. So because of that politician visiting Cairo, there was like a lot of cars and a lot of media, everything, like because that was an official visit, and I never liked that man anyway. So yeah, I really want to go back to Egypt. And actually, right now, most of countries that I visited in Europe, right now I'm not thinking about them anymore, which is like kind of, I wish I wanted to go back to them because they are easier to go back to. But also, like in this season, most of European countries look disgusting. And last year I was traveling in winter, and I got I came back ill because of the weather. It was so cold. I was freezing all the time, and I was like, no, I'm not going to do this anymore because it's too much pain. And like I was actually, the weather wasn't that bad on that day, but I came back ill anyway because like it wasn't raining. At least it was snowing for a moment. It was like 0 degrees or something, and I was in France. And but when I came back, I was ill. I was dead basically. And at least it wasn't raining. Maybe because it wasn't Netherlands, it was France, and France is big, so it has different, like a bit different weather in different places in France. And I was in Strasbourg, or whatever you call it, close to border with Germany. So, and this year I'm not, at least I don't have any plans yet for this winter to travel. But another country that I really miss, by the way, when it comes to European countries, I really miss Kosovo. I've been to Kosovo only once, but it really stole my heart. Like everybody told me, "Oh, Kosovo is ugly. There's nothing to do in Kosovo." Blah blah blah. I loved Kosovo. I don't know why. Like it's like Pristina has this thing about it that it's very cozy. At least for me, it was a very cozy city. I really felt at home. and I really loved it. I loved how Pristina had like some buildings that were completely new, like some kind of barracks, and next to this you would have some old Ottoman building, and like I like the contrasts in Pristina, and I also like a lot of buildings in Pristina that I really loved. People say they are ugly, but I really love them. Like, for example, the library in Pristina, that people say it's the ugliest library on earth. And for me, it had some kind of, I liked it. It has some kind of charm. And also this abandoned Serbian church that is like basically a ruin. But there's something about this church, the abandonedness and everything. Like, I really loved it. Like, I think Pristina is so cute and so cool. I really want to come back. It's one of the countries that I really wait to revisit. And another such country is Bosnia, but a bit less because I have been to Bosnia not so long ago. But I really like Bosnia. I don't know why. Like I like revisiting Bosnia. It's like a country that I really like. It's also cozy. Like Bosnia is very cozy country, and but I've been to Bosnia not so long ago, so I miss it less. But Pristina, Kosovo, like oh my god, I miss Kosovo so much. I really want to go back to Kosovo. And another country that I would really love to visit is North Macedonia. And I've been to North Macedonia last time, like a year ago, but I've been only to Skopje. And the place that I really want to revisit is Ohrid. And Ohrid is like close to Albania. And I really loved Ohrid so much. I've been to Ohrid very long ago, like maybe 9 years ago. And I really loved it. I don't know, that's because I was in summer in Ohrid and everything looks better in summer. Maybe because I was in Ohrid during some festival and everything was very, very cheerful and very fun. And maybe because I was in Ohrid with friends. But I would really want to revisit Ohrid because my memories from that city are amazing, that I really loved it so much. So that's another place that I really truly want to revisit. But also, by the way, sorry, I'm a bit ill. I have some kind of allergy. I don't know towards what, but my eyes are in pain, and there's a lot of pus in my eyes, and also like my eyelids got very swollen. I don't know what's going on, but I have some kind of allergy. So that's one of the places that I want to revisit. What else do I want to revisit? Basically a lot of places, because like almost every country that I have seen, I still have something to see there and something that makes me want to come back. But those places I think I want to revisit the most. By the way, I'm going to look up tickets to Kosovo, because right now when I started talking about Kosovo, I realized how much I miss it, and that I really would love to go to Kosovo again. But maybe not in this season because everything is cold, and maybe Kosovo is not that bad in winter, I don't know, but like traveling in winter is difficult because it's cold. And for me, like I'm not good at Russia! Yes, I miss Russia a lot. Like recently, actually I've been thinking about how much I want to go back to Russia. I was thinking about this one. When can I go to Russia? I miss Russia a lot. Oh my god. Yes, it's Russia. I really want to revisit Russia. I would forget. And I've been thinking about that a lot recently, that I would love to revisit. Like there's like people in the West think that Russia just looks like dystopian pictures of those blocks, and like yeah, they do exist there, but it's like Russia has also a lot of architecture that is like very 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 beautiful, and like not like architecture like flats that people live in, like architecture like public architecture, let's say, architecture of public use, let's say, and also a lot of palaces, a lot of churches, like a lot of, there's a lot of architecture in Russia. It's like extremely beautiful, and people don't know that. I think if they went to Russia, they would be very surprised because they don't know how beautiful those places look. And like, there's a lot of beautiful places in Russia. Like, actually, one of my biggest travel dreams all my life was to visit all of Russia, like all the republics and all the major cities. That has been my dream for a very long time. That's still my dream, but I know it's like probably would be very expensive because Russia is not like, it depends where. but maybe it wouldn't be that expensive. But if I wanted to go to all of those places, that would be expensive because I would either have to have a flight or a train and everywhere. That's a lot of places. That's why it would be expensive. Like those places probably would not be expensive themselves, but to go to them. But that's also another place that I really miss. And recently I started missing Iceland. I don't know why. Like actually when I went to Iceland, after I just came back from Iceland, I was like, no, I don't want to go to Iceland again because I was like actually really disappointed. Because like unfortunately I was unlucky and I went to Iceland during Corona and I didn't manage to go to most of places that were like the most attractive, and because the buses didn't go there and I was just there alone. I cannot hire a car just by myself, especially that my budget was very limited. And like I was really disappointed because like Icelandic people, like I don't know if that's a thing with everybody in Iceland, but they were like really really unhospitable, They were like, oh, another person coming. Like they were not happy. Like I don't require them to be happy that I came, but they were like, I really could feel that they are unhappy that somebody is coming. They were like, oh, will be more noise, more trash, whatever. Like I really didn't feel welcome. And in most of countries, even if people don't love the tourists coming, like in a lot of places, tourists they behave like, oh, they are the worst sometimes, so I understand that. But in Iceland, tourists usually aren't behaving that badly, and they were like really really unwelcoming. And I know people myself who work like in tourist industry, and they work in places where people come and they treat them the worst, and they are still the most hospitable people. And I'm always like, you're an angel, because I would just slap those tourists. I would just tell them to get the fuck up back, wherever they came from, because they need to behave. Like literally, I know people who work, for example, in hotels, in shops, like in places that tourists come, and they work outside of Europe. They are not European. And then those European tourists come and they basically act so offensive. Like they treat those people like literally. I know a guy who heard from a European tourist. European tourist told him that that's not possible, that he's so nice because your people are violent and your people are criminals. Like, and my friend was still nice to this man. Like, I would slap this man. I would tell him, I would tell him something illegal probably. But, I know people who, like, in a lot of non-European countries, the tourists from Europe, they act the worst. And Iceland is a European country, so probably the tourists aren't like very disrespectful, because like Europeans outside of Europe, when they go like to country that is not in Europe, they can be so disgusting. Like I think it should be like, it's so frustrating for me because I know so many people who like sacrificed a lot just to be able to cross any European border. They had to prove so many things. And then Europeans don't need any visa to go to a country that they will disrespect, that they will just behave the worst in that country. They will exploit those people working there. They will commit crimes often. And it's legal. Like for me, it's so frustrating. Anyway, I'm rambling, but it's something that really infuriates me. Like when I see some European tourists acting disgustingly when they are outside of Europe, it's like something that really makes my blood boil. And some of those people even choose to live there because they know they will be able to get away with everything, and they just want to exploit local people. So frustrating. By the way, I a few years ago I found one woman on the internet. I was unlucky enough to come across her profile, and she was a tour guide. She was a European tour guide, and she was showing people countries that she doesn't even respect herself and getting money from that. She was getting money from that. She lives in the Middle East, and she was like, she literally made posts about how much, she was delusional when she was living in Europe. She thought that maybe, not unaliving everybody there would be a bad option. But right now she knows that they are savages and, they deserve that. And I was like, what the fuck? And you benefit of showing people, those people's land, And probably you say a lot of stupid things to those European tourists, and you probably made them even more racist than they already are. And she was like, she made me so annoyed. And also, I think her boyfriend is white, and I think she's one of those people who live in a country but never, never talk to the locals, only talk to other whites. And like, oh my God, I really wanted to slap this woman so much. Like, I was like, how dare you? Like, you take money from something that is not yours. Like, that's why I never, when I go to outside of Europe, I never take a European guide, because I don't trust them. Like, I don't trust them. I had, like, once I was outside of Europe and I suddenly had this guide like talking about God all the time and talking about how much he loves Donald Trump, and I was like, bro, you're weird. I'm afraid of you. You're scary. Like, maybe he wasn't as bad as her. At least he didn't like explicitly said those things. He just had this vibe about him. He didn't explicitly say anything like that vile, but he had this colonial vibe about him, especially when he was talking that, oh, colonialism is so complicated. You made this complicated. It's you who made it complicated. Like, people, you and people like you. That's why it's complicated. Because you made it that way, so you can later say, oh, it's complicated. It's such a complicated case. Let's better not talk about this. Anyway, I'm really rambling, but this is something that I'm really passionate about. And since then, I don't take any European guides when I'm outside of Europe. I know that some of them may be nice people, but I never know which ones. And I prefer not, just in case, not to give them money. Because if they are like this woman, like that woman, I don't want to give them any money. Like, no, not at all. Like, seriously, no, you should be in jail. Like, I hate you. Like, those people are the worst. And I know, oh my God, I know a lot of European people like this. Oh my God, they are the worst. There was one lady on Instagram who was like educating people about diversity. I mean, literally, she was saying that she's an educator on diversity. She knew nothing about diversity. Like, she lived outside of Europe for several years. And she literally, like, when somebody accused her of being, right, YouTube doesn't like this word apparently. She said, no, I'm not like this. I don't have opinion about. I lived outside of Europe, but I don't have any opinion about the locals, because the only locals I was in contact with were my cleaning ladies. That was a proof. Like, she lived outside of Europe, and the only friends she had were white. She lived it like for several years, and then she says, no, I don't have any discriminatory views, because I know nothing about the people that I live next to. They were only my cleaning ladies. And then she proceeded to talk about instances of crimes that happened in her area because of those bad locals. And I was like, oh my God, you really don't hear yourself. What's wrong with you? And she was saying that she's like an educator on diversity. And why she was saying she's an educator on diversity? Because she's a religious woman, but she believes that women should have a choice. That's why she's diverse. And I was like, oh my God. Like, clearly, I think, like, I talked to this woman myself. I messaged her. And, like, I respect the fact that she had the guts to answer to me, because a lot of people, they just block everybody who disagrees with them. And I think there's some goodness inside her, like little bit of goodness. I think she has some cognitive dissonance about her own views, and I think that some part of her probably realizes that what she's doing is wrong, and what she's saying is wrong, and that she's wrong. Some part of her probably knows. That's why but she doesn't want to realize that, because like I looked what she follows, and a lot of profiles that she was following were some kind of hate groups, and people, like white people with guns, who were talking about being a master race and stuff like this. And I was like, bro, you say that you're a left-wing educator on diversity, like what? And a lot of people, actually, like a lot of people that I follow this lady, and like she wrote a book, and a lot of people bought her book because she was talking about diversity. Oh my God, like what's wrong with this word? Like, seriously, what's wrong with this word? Like, fortunately, like a lot of people criticize her, and that's very good, but like she has she has something going on. Like she has to have some mental disconnect between her views and her views, because she seems to a little tiny little bit notice the truth, but she doesn't want to realize that, probably because she doesn't want to realize that her friends are very bad people. I think that she doesn't want to realize that, because then she would have to change a lot of things about I think she likes her privilege. I think she really likes her privilege, and she doesn't want to lose it, because from her posts that's sometimes what I could really see, that she really loves being privileged person, and she doesn't like to admit that. And she likes being friends with such people that she just will stay friends with them, because she's not the one that they would hate crime. Oh my god, never mind. I started rambling, and I started going very far away from the original topic. Anyway, have a nice day. I'm not sure if anybody will see those videos, because I use some words that probably the algorithm will not like. Anyway, I tried not to use them, but it's like very annoying, because like, bro, these are the words. They exist. How am I supposed to describe everything if I cannot use actual words that mean them, you know? Anyway, see you, bye. I wish you don't have any stupid, ignorant tour guide. Or if you work in tourist industry, I hope that very stupid people don't come to you, and they stay the hell in Europe and do not come to you, because those people, European people, they like, not only European, because I also heard about other tourists, like mostly very rich people from different countries, they tend to come somewhere and just exploit local people, because I heard also about rich brown people who are acting disgustingly, but it's mostly Europeans. So I wish you don't have to be in touch with any of those people. Bye.